first one we're going to talk about is Cinelinx.
Yes.
So this is a movie trivia, I guess you would call it, card game. We've had it for a long time now, but...
You just got the new version.
Right, so it was a Kickstarter originally. They have the new edition, which is on Amazon, which has more cards.
And the new box.
And the new box, which is a storage box, so because they have 4 or 5 expansions, so now you can fit them all in one box, whereas before I had a bunch of tiny deck boxes for them. So I was very happy. I actually sleeved them all with, crappy penny sleeves, but
turned out to be the wrong size, but
yeah,
it still works. I think it still works.
It works. They barely fit in the box. But this new version has new cards. They cleaned up some of the rules and some things like that. We played a game of it. I don't know if we've talked about it in the show or not before, but I'd feel like movie trivia is a very hard thing to do as a game for a couple of reasons. One of the big ones is because, like any trivia game, once you've heard the questions, you can't play it anymore.
Well, I think what's nice about this, though, it's not just, we love Wits and Wagers, but it's not like, hear the question, I know the answer. It doesn't matter if you know, I know Tom Cruise is in this movie.
Right. You have to know, is Tom Cruise was in this movie with this person who directed this movie. So the game is all about degrees of connections. It's kind of like 6 Degrees of Separation or Kevin Bacon.
Which I think actually keeps it fresh. And even if you do know the answer, might not be your winning move. It might, I think in this game you actually mentioned how you were holding on to cards because you knew you could connect them anywhere.
Right. I was like, these are good cards, so I don't want to put it down because someone else will take advantage of how easy it is to make a connection to it.
And you want to use it as the last card.
Yeah. So it's always a fun time.
We should mention before we continue. Obviously, Jonathan's very good at this. He knows all this stuff. I don't. But I still enjoy it.
In this game, you almost won.
Yes.
Everybody had one card left, and I got lucky by winning because everyone else just happened to have to draw before my turn. So it is a decent game for. You have to know about movies certainly, but you don't have to be a super expert, although it helps. But I found I think it's a great gateway game also for people who like movies but don't play a lot of board games.
Oh no, it's fantastic.
They'll jump on this right away.
I said, it is very simple, just a trivia, but it's done in a way that makes it so it can be repeatable.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not the kind of guy who knows names well. If it was just characters, I could probably do really well, or pictures of them. But I still, like you said, I still came close. They made it a lot easier, especially in this new one. They added more things that probably give me a little more of a leg up.
I think they had some more recognizable movies and stuff in there.
And also, they'll do dual movies and things.
Right.
Which is still a lot of fun. And, of course, one of the things they do, you didn't mention, for the expansions. Let's say you're a big horror buff fan. There's a horror buff one, so you could make it so you just shuffle that in, so you're more likely to come across those.
Yeah, or there's a comic book and superhero movies one, which is great because everybody knows those these days.
Right.
So that would definitely add to make it a little easier.
And it does become really fun when you're trying to think of all these connections. And even in particular with the heavy movie buffs, you guys still weren't sure on time. It was really fun to be like, does this work? And with Ivan, you're just like, no.
It's not, nope.
And then I think the reverse happened and stuff. It's just...
my problem is I'm always like, well, I could just do this, but that's so easy. I want to come up with the really cool, impressive, he was in this, and look smart. But then I spend 20 minutes on my turn.
I don't care about that. I'm just like, can I connect that? And the worst part is, I know, it's sort of funny, they changed the rule. You said you think to make for more bluffing, but I'm like, God knows I can't bluff that.
Right, because if you play something wrong, if it's not challenged, you can get away with it.
The thing is, I know I'll be challenged for it.
It's tough. Anyway, that's Cinelinx. You can find that on Amazon. Highly recommended if you like movies. Now, if you don't like movies, stay away from it. But you wanted to talk about some Magic cards stuff.
Yeah, I also, the next day after we did all our stuff, my brother had gotten a box of the new Masters cards, box of that, and we played a small draft of 6 people. Okay. I got to look through some of those cards. He did get some nice cards. He didn't get the card he was hoping for, but he did get, I forget the name of the card. It's a blue counterspell that I'm totally blanking on, which a lot of people are, Force of Will, which goes
That's behind us.
Great, because that's the card in particular that apparently is going for $100.
I think that was their cover image.
It was, because it's sort of a big card in the Legacy format. But it was really interesting because the way the tournament worked out when we played, I actually did really well, and I thought I was going to lose every game, which made me sort of angry that my deck was doing well. Because it was just little flying guys and counter spells, and I didn't have anything big. So I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to like use up all my things and die. But everyone kept losing to me.
I don't deserve this.
No, that's actually what it felt like. Like, the first guy had this, he got his amazing combo out in the beginning, and then nothing happened afterwards, so I just kept beating his face in. The second person got all the elf cards, but some reason they weren't coming out in droves, so I still beat his face in with these little squadron hawks.
Sounds like slow and steady wins the race.
Well, only the last match where the decks acted right. I got kicked very hard. The winning combo was actually the girl got all of these enchantress cards, which get +1 for every enchantment on the field, and she just got all these enchantments and just like, okay, I swing for 8. I'm just like, my little 1/1 can't block that.
That's a shame, but it sounds like you gave it a good.
It is,
good fight.
and it was the draft itself was a lot of fun because it was much closer compared to other Magic drafts. It felt more like which you have played, Epic, the card game. You know, the cards are much more like you open a pack like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. Crap.
A lot of good stuff. That's good.
And
That's
which it
always
makes it
more
even more disappointing thinking how, like I said, my brother did make back the money. He got this a holographic Necropotence, I think is the card, and some other things. So he got his money back in terms of the box. But this box goes for a lot. And it's a little disappointing to
that
think.
one's not behind us.
No. To think how expensive that goes for.
Right.
And when it really does provide at least in my opinion, a much more interesting drafting experience. It's not all right, there are 2 cards in here, the rest is just junk.
It's kind of a shame that like you have to spend that much money for such a good experience. But I guess if you're if you get a group of friends together that'll go in on it.
However, there's one other thing I want to talk about, which I didn't know about until the end. Apparently, the Magic packs usually come with a token. It's like the token creature for
like
anything.
Oh, okay.
Like if something puts in 1/1 soldiers or something. On the back, though, it had like, play Magic, but on the outsides it had like half sentences cut off. Apparently, there's an 11 by 11 grid of cards, which we did calculate is at least 5 boxes with no repeats, which is a little crazy, assuming you do it yourself. That makes a whole story about the next set coming out.
Oh.
But it's 2 stories. The way it works is if you read it this way, like horizontally, it's one story. Vertically, it's a different story. So like horizontally saying like, the great King Bragus is dead, but the queen will bring loyalty will be deserved. Well, the other one's like, the queen usurped the king. You do not follow her. She's evil. And so it's like this crazy dual story thing going on. It's like, what?
That sounds neat.
It's just crazy though to think about like, that's 5 boxes worth of tokens, no repeats.
It's worth it, man. You
had to be in a card store that ran multiple drafts of this in order for you to actually see this story.
You got to do it. Otherwise, how are you going to know? What are you going to do? Look online and
yes, that's exactly what we did.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Never mind. You don't have to do it.
But it's really interesting and cool to check out if you're into Magic. Look it up because it is an interesting story, and it's sort of funny because the set it's from is actually from a world that was made specifically for drafting. Like literally, there are cards in there that says, "When you draft this card, put it out in front of you" and stuff. And the idea is that it's all about conspiracies and all this weird stuff of backstabbing. So it's really cool to see them do this, sort of not even related to this set alone. Sort of like a little teaser story.
Right. Yeah. No.
And I forgot the names. There's 3 different kinds of Magic players, and one's for tournament, one who cares about story, one cares about creatures. I'm a story guy. I love me my story. So seeing this, I'm like, ooh.
Eternal Masters. Look it up.
Well, I think it's a little
if you
late.
haven't heard of it.